Hey friends, Kevin, your budget travel guy here, ready with the first part of Van Build 2.0. If you're not a subscriber of this channel, you may not know I had to do away with the other van, so we're going to talk about this minivan, the build I'm going to do, how I bought it, which will give you some tips on buying your van. There's a couple things with a used van. Of course, you almost always have to do something. I'm going to walk you through that, how much it's going to cost, and the total amount of money I'm going to have in this thing, ready to go coast to coast across the country. Let's get to it. Now, my cost to buy this van was $500, and we'll get into a few more details on that in a minute. Could I have spent more money? Yes. I could have spent 10 times that much on a van, but I didn't want to, and I don't have to with this. So I can use that money for other things like being out and enjoying things and traveling and going the places I want to go to and seeing the things I want to see. Now, as far as what I'm going to do to this van, there are a couple of clear coat paint issues like you see on this door. I'm going to be able to fix these for about $50 total. There'll be a separate video on that. This is very common. It's a very easy fix. The second issue is going to be power door locks, because this is a Dodge and these go bad on every one of these Dodge minivans. They just used a cheap part inside that actually kicks that lock up and down when you hit the power lock switch. As a matter of fact, on this van, both of these have gone bad. Now, this part to replace, you can find them for about $12. I would not use the very cheapest one. You can get a real quality one for about $40. So I'm going to have $80 roughly in replacing both of these power door locks. The number 3 thing I had to deal with were these rods which hold this lift up. These were about $40 to replace. Both of these were bad. They've already been replaced, so this is already fixed. Now, even if you have an engine code reader, the cheaper ones do nothing but read the engine codes. I still recommend everybody use one of these, even if the light and engine light isn't on when you're looking at a vehicle. But the one I have will also look at transmission codes, will also look at ABS codes for the braking system. I'm going to link that down in the description below. This particular vehicle, no engine lights, no transmission lights. Suspension is absolutely perfect. No major issues like that, but the ABS light is on. The previous owner was told by a garage that he needed the whole main module that controlled everything and yada, 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 and it would be about $2,000 to fix that. Couple of things to know. One, ABS isn't necessary. It's nice to have, but there's a lot of things running around out there that don't have a working ABS system, which just if you slam on the brakes, it pumps the brakes really quickly, making it a little less likely that you go into a skid. But, you know, cars for years and years and years didn't have such a thing. So as long as you don't get silly and just slam on the brakes, you're not going to have a problem anyway. But what you have on most vehicles, and not just this Dodge, the same thing with Chevrolet vehicles, same thing with most other brands, is you're going to have some type of wheel sensor on each wheel. And according to the code reader, the sensor on this passenger side rear isn't reading correctly. This is a $22 part. I've already ordered it. As a matter of fact, it's in. I need to go pick it up after a while. It is the same thing basically as if you are changing the brake pads on a vehicle. You have to get it down to that level. There's a place it plugs in on one side, a place the cable plugs in on the other side. These cables are known to go bad. I will 99% bet that when that cable is plugged in, that ABS light on the dashboard will go out. And I will have a $22 repair instead of a $2,000 repair. If I'm wrong and it doesn't, it's no big deal to me at all. The braking system, the rest of it works absolutely fine. Again, it's nothing to be horrified about if an ABS light is on a vehicle. And this can happen with a vehicle that is just out of warranty and has 50,000, 60,000 miles on it. And usually you get some ridiculous estimate and nobody ever bothers to fix it because the estimate is so ridiculous on doing it. The only other thing I'm going to change are the headlights. Because once a vehicle gets past 6 or 8 years old, you know, the headlights start getting that turning yellow or just glazing over and getting that funky look to it. And it makes your vehicle look really old and awful. My previous minivan, you know, which had an absolute perfect body on it, that gold minivan, that was one of the first things I did with this. I slapped a new set of headlights in it. You can generally do that less than $100. I think on this one it's going to be about $70. That will give me nice new shiny headlights. Once I fix that little bit of clear coat, the body is going to look like a couple of year old van. You know, it's not going to be anything old and junky because I want to blend in. You know, I don't want to have anything too junky. On the other hand, I don't need anything too nice because I know I'm going to be bouncing down back roads and I'm going to have tree branches bouncing off of it. I'm going to take off the occasional mirror, which I have done twice on my adventures. Once on each van, I have taken a mirror off and had to side mirror and had to replace. So that's the way I travel. That's the way I do this stuff. So I'm not worried about if I run something in the ditch, knock a mirror off, whatever, because I don't have a lot of money in it. I just need it to be dependable. And dependable this will be. So if we look at our cost so far, I have $500 in this van. I have $40 in these rods, makes $540. $22 in that cable, so that brings us up to $560. I'm going to have $80 in replacing these door locks. It's going to bring us up to $640. I'm going to have $50 in the materials to fix that clear coat issue in a couple of places on the body, so that brings us up to $690 or so. And I'm going to spend $70 to replace those headlights. So that's going to bring me up to $760. That's going to be my cost of this van, total cost. In addition, I will go ahead and do a couple other things. I'll go ahead and swap the radiator hoses, a PCV valve, probably throw a new thermostat in it. The previous owner had just put one in, so I may not do that, but he thinks it was done anyway. Since I don't know his mechanic, I'll go ahead and do that because it's a $5 part. Just some basic things under the hood to make sure that everything is right with it. I know the water pump has been replaced on this not that long ago, so I don't have to worry about it. And there's really nothing else that can go wrong. This should be as dependable as anything else, basically, that's on the road. Because any vehicle, regardless of age, you can lose a water pump, you can lose a starter, and you can lose an alternator when you're traveling. Those can go out at any time. I expect that can happen with any vehicle that I'm driving, any vehicle that I own. But I want to make sure I don't have any other issues with it. And that's why I do these things to head those other little annoying issues off. Now, as far as the interior of this is going to be a basic no-build build. So if you're looking for someone that's going to gut their vehicle, this isn't going to be the video for you. This is going to be the thing to get anybody started. And I've done videos on what I would do with a $200 van build and a $500 van build and a $1,000 van build. This is going to be pretty close to what is in the $1,000 van build video. I'm just going to be able to lay this one out better from experience compared to what I had in the previous minivan. Even though that worked fine, I can make this one a little bit neater. Since this is a Dodge Grand Caravan, it does have the Stow-N-Go seating on the back. This front was actually a bench, so I removed it. I think they started Stow-N-Go seating as an option a couple of years after that for this row. This doesn't have it, but it still has the compartment for it. While you have two separate compartments, these do interconnect under here. So as long as I can get into one side, I'm fine. Since my bed will be on this side, behind the driver's seat, I have no issue with even having to get into this section, because if I do it right, I can reach everything from over here, which will give me easy access. You also have the Stow-N-Go in the back. So there's our cute little flip-up seat. This one will come completely out. This one I'm undecided on. I may actually leave this one in, but we'll know that when I get further into the build. Our nice deep compartment down in here, we'll use some kind of board to cover this, take up this space. This seat removes with 4 bolts, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, if we're going to take it completely out. And that gives me a little more storage space. If I think I need it, the bed will sit right over top. The bed is going to be light enough, I can simply lift it, get into this compartment. Has a nice deep cavity here. One thing that I don't particularly care for about this vehicle is the sliding doors do not have any type of pocket on them. My other minivan did, and I was able to store a lot of things in there, just things I wanted to get to fast, and a can of bear spray and the fire alarm and the CO2 alarm. So I'm going to have to relocate those to a different area. Now, as far as what I paid, the $500 and the roughly $800 I'll have into it when I fix these little things, I'm going to do a complete video on how I've bought vans before, because the gold minivan, it came from an internet site. The other large van that you see, the Road Trek, the large white van you see me in sometimes, it came from an internet site. This came from a friend, which is why I got a better deal on it. But let me tell you something. You take this same van that had gone through an auction site or had been traded in to some dealer's lot on a new vehicle, which is what my buddy did. He got a new vehicle and basically was retiring this one and sold it to me rather than trading it in. So they'd have sold it to another used car lot in town, or they'd have run it through an auction where some used car lot would have bought it for very little money. They'd have made these couple of $100s of quick repairs that I'm talking about, and then you'd have seen this sitting on a buy here pay here lot, Joe's used car lot, at $29.95 or possibly $39.95. That is reality. That is the way it works. So one of the things I want to put out there for those of you that are shopping for a van, if you're serious about it and you have your money ready to go, whatever amount of money that you're going to spend on your van, be it $1,000, be it $5,000, whatever, put some feelers out to your friends that, hey, I'm looking for a minivan, I'm looking for a cargo van. If you ever, if you decide to get rid of this one or decide to get you another vehicle, yell at me before you trade it in. You would be surprised how often that can work, or they will know somebody else and go, oh, well, Mary's got a blah, blah, blah she's getting ready to get rid of, or just got a new one and she's trying to sell her old one. That works. Does it work all the time? No, but it will work a lot. And when people jump into this and they have their money, one of the first things they're thinking of is, what website do I need to go to? What car lot do I need to go to? That may not always be your best option. So coming up, we'll get into exactly what I put in. No build, the stuff we need to solve those 5 issues that everybody needs to solve to be able to camp, travel for long periods of time in their minivan or their cargo van. Now, it's easy to get distracted by looks, and it's easy to get off track with this and that, and how am I going to do these other little things and blah, 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 when you're starting out. And I know that because I did the exact same thing. I tried to do too much. I bought too much. I carried too much with me in the beginning. I made all of those mistakes, which is why I make some of these videos trying to keep you from making the same mistakes that I did. But if you're just starting out with this, there's 5 problems that you need to have a solution to when you go on the road. And it really is this simple. You need a place to sleep that's comfortable, that you can get a good night's sleep. You need a way to cook. You need a way to keep food cold. You need a place to shower and stay clean, and you need a place to go potty. Those are your 5 things, and you will see with what I put in here, if you're new to this, we're going to solve all of those problems, and we're going to solve all of those problems very inexpensively. Now, you have other optional things. Well, what about external heat? Well, what about how am I going to stay cool in the summer? The fact is, most people aren't going to be going where they're baking in the sun where it's 103 degrees in the summer with no trees. And most people aren't going to be trying to camp when it's 17 degrees below zero in one of these. If you run into those situations where you are in that situation, then there's videos on this channel telling you how to solve those problems. But don't get distracted by how am I going to stay warm when it's 17 below zero when you're doing this and you're planning on doing this in the summer. You know, don't let yourself get distracted, because if you let yourself get too distracted, you'll never get started. Cover the basics first, and then you can add some of the other things that will make your life on the road better. If it doesn't make your life on the road better, if it doesn't make your life on the road more comfortable, you don't need it. As I've said, the van build videos, Van Build 2.0, this one are going to be coming soon. In the meantime, you may want to watch these other videos popping up. If you've not seen them yet, that will give you a good start on your own adventures. I appreciate you watching. We'll talk soon.